mystery of the hour, gathered here in one fine body, gathered here in the struggle and the power. Spirit, draw near. Spirit, draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power. Spirit, draw near. Spirit, draw near. Last verse. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power. Spirit, draw near. Spirit, draw near. One more time. Spirit, draw near. Good morning, everybody.
Today, we celebrate Lammas, a holy day on the neo-pagan liturgical calendar. In that tradition, we call not just the light when opening a ceremony, but also the 4 elements as well. We call the East element of air, herald of intellect and wit, to join us this day and share with us your wisdom. Hail and welcome. We call the South element of fire, herald of energy and life, to join us this day and share with us your passion. Hail and welcome. We call the West element of water, herald of compassion and love, to join us this day and share with us your empathy. Hail and welcome. We call the North element of earth, herald of stability and strength, to join us this day and share with us your abundance. Hail and welcome. And at the center, we call the light. Kindled in all of our hearts, may we share that brightness with one another and together be a beacon for the world. Hail and welcome. For our opening words, we have the first stanza of Ode to Bread. Bread, you rise from flour, water, and fire, dense or light, flattened or round. You duplicate the mother's rounded womb and earth's twice yearly swelling. How simple you are, bread, and how profound. You line up on the baker's powdered trays like silverware or plates or pieces of paper, and suddenly life washes over you. There is the joining of seed and fire, and you're growing all at once, like hips and mouths, breaths and mounds of the earth or of people's lives. The temperature rises, you're overwhelmed by fullness, the roar of fertility, and suddenly your golden color is fixed. And when your little wombs are seated, a brown scar lay upon the brown length of the 2 halves toasted jointly. Now, whole, you are mankind's energy, a miracle often admired, and the will to live itself.
Isis, Astarte, Diana, Hecate, Demeter, Kali, Inanna, Isis Astarte Diana Hecate Demeter Kali Inanna. 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 Good morning, everyone, and may we all be blessed on this beautiful Sabbath morning. For today is Lammas, or Lunasa, or if you're Catholic, then Loaf Mass. Today is a celebration of the first harvest of the year, when the cycle of the seasons prepares to turn once more. The summer still reigns proudly, its crown the sun held high and bright. But its golden rays have already fallen to brush the edges of leaves, and autumn is waiting patiently in the wings. Lammas is an ancient holiday, going back long before it was first recorded, honoring the beginning of the harvest season. It is Mabon, the autumnal equinox, and Samhain, All Hallows' Eve, that are the two Sabbats that are truly of fall, and they are harvest festivals too. Lammas still resides in the summer season, but its arrival marks a change in how the world works. Before the Industrial Revolution and all of its lovely repercussions, humanity spent over 12,000 years as a mostly agrarian people. Society itself revolved around the seasons and what they could provide. Spring giving the much-needed fresh greens after long, cold winters. Summer had its bright fruits. But it was autumn, with its harvest season, that truly allowed humanity to survive the cold and barren winters. Year after year, stretching across millennia, humans have come together at the end of summer to begin gathering in the fields. The staple crops that made civilization possible, rice, wheat, corn, and so many more of the other cereal grains, are ripening now. The further south you go, some of them have already started, like here in Texas. You can go out and you can see the cornfields drying, ready for the harvester in the fields. Other important foods ripen this time of year as well. Onions, potatoes, yams, and gourds. All the hardy, long-lasting vegetables that help us as a species survive winter. Lammas sits in the middle with the bright fruits of summer, along with the grains and root vegetables of autumn. It is a season of plenty, and is a season of plenty to come. Lammas is the joy and brightness of summer, and it is also the promise of hard work that autumn will bring us. Lammas is a reminder as well to look around and remember that we are not doing this alone. Modern paganism, which I follow, is a religion that is forever trying to reattune itself to the natural rhythms of the earth, the natural rhythms that vast portions of our society simply no longer follow. Most of us aren't farmers. Heck, most of us aren't even gardeners. But still we seek the wheel of the year, the sacred spiral of time as Earth rotates herself throughout the seasons. And the allure of the harvest season, with its bounty and symbolism, are etched deep into the human psyche. And the lesson it brings still rings true in our spirits. Even before agriculture, hunter-gatherer societies depended on each other to provide food year-round. Sharing was standard practice, because you might find a basket full of berries one night, but nothing the next. Sharing what you have found ensured everyone ate every night. Feeding your neighbor when they found nothing meant that you too would be fed when you needed it. Homo sapiens have existed as a species for around 30,000 years, and other older parts of our lineage stretch back hundreds more. Sharing is how we survived to the modern day. Sharing is literally hardwired into our DNA. And if it didn't leave when our species settled into place to plant gardens and raise orchards, then it's not going anywhere. If anything, settling down settled its place into our lives. Because Lammas, the harvest, is something we must share. The harvest is when whole communities come together to share in both the work and the bounty of the year. Crops can be tilled well enough by families in spring. Households might manage gardens more or less on their own throughout the summer. But autumn, with its broad golden fields of wheat and fragrant orchards, with their limbs heavy with apples, and even some late berries, like cranberries, bright and red, are waiting for flooded bogs to lift them up, them and the spiders. It takes autumn. It takes a gathering, a community of people coming together, armed with rakes and scythes and shovels, to descend upon those fields, to enter under those boughs, to wade into the floodwaters and collect the final gifts of the earth before she turns herself in for a long, well-deserved rest in winter. The bounty of the harvest is locked behind a paywall, if you will forgive the analogy. And the price you pay is being involved in your community. Many hands make light work, as the phrase goes. Here in our UU church, we also like to say a burden shared is a burden halved. The harvest is something we do together. Lammas is something we do together. Because when humans come together, when they work together in times of abundance, everyone can survive when times are not. In the past, whole villages would turn out tackling field after field until all were clear. For a few days, your neighbors would all work in your fields, pulling in wheat and corn and the last of the peas. A few days later, you would be in theirs. Door by door, field by field, the harvest would be pulled into barns and silos, sifted, sorted, and dried in the lingering heat of the waning summer and into the dry, tepid fall, until everyone's larder was full. Even in a non-agricultural society, the spirit of Lammas still holds true, and those practices, those lessons still work. Lammas, the end of summer and the beginning of harvest, is when we traditionally come back together after the heat of summer has faded. This is the time of year when we're getting ready for back to school, when we gather supplies for children and their teachers. It's when we're starting to to get ready for the winter holidays that we all love so much, planning who's hosting Thanksgiving or Christmas and who's bringing what gifts. This is when we hold food drives, raise funds for charity. And on that note, have any of you filled out your pledge drives? I know I have. The autumn is also when we vote, when our values find fruit in physical manifestation, and we come together again to hopefully protect our communities through seasons of ice and scarcity. All the seeds we planted in the spring, either physical or spiritual, all the hopes tended, watered carefully throughout the droughts, now rise before us in a promise. Lammas is the harvest, and the harvest is here. If we want to make it through the autumn with Mabon and Samhain, to reach the Yule and the winter solstice, then there's a lot of work ahead of us, both physical and spiritual. Our physical and spiritual well-being of ourselves and our communities depend on cooperation. Lammas honors that cooperation, that social consciousness ingrained in us all. It is when we come together to share the last of the summer fruits and the first of autumn grains as they sit in our ladders, promising the plenty to come if we're willing to work for it. And bread, the center of Lammas, the loaf mass, is a food that humans have been making long before we've tilled fields. The ancient celebration of Lammas survived the infliction of Christianity upon Europe. So important was the harvest and its traditions that loaf mass, or hlaafmes in Old English, was where the bread of the first harvest of the season was baked and then blessed by the church. So this is both pagan and Christian. And it's a fun tradition. So today, for Lammas, Lunasa, or the loaf mass, I invite you all to come and take bread from the altar. Now we have several things. So we have vegan bread that's made with rice flour. We have gluten-free bread that's made with almond flour. It's not vegan. And then we have regular wheat bread with hemp seed and flax. So, if you have allergies or food preferences, you are being accounted for. But the bread is here to share, so I invite everyone to rise and come up. But as you have your bread, as you take it back to your seats and place it in your mouth, with the reverence due to the oldest food that we know, and the one that made civilization, as we know it, possible, I invite you to chew slowly and think about all the people it took to make this bread, make it to you across human history. And I invite you to bow your head in thanks. A prayer now to the earth, the universal mother, sweet goddess of many names, Selu, Ceres, Inanna, Ukemochi, Ninerzag, Nepet. It is your green fields that are gilded in gold, the source of wealth throughout the ages, nurturing, bountiful, blessed and divine. Your fruit is found on stalk and vine. Goddess of seeds, spirit of abundance, fair is your ripe harvest. Your call together heard across the land. Strumming in our hearts and history, echoes of the turning wheel, the lessons of our past, and the makings of our futures bound together in fire and grain. May this bread today that feeds our bodies also feed our hearts and pull us together again as the work of Lammas begins anew. Let us not falter in the face of it. Let us be nurtured and nourished, restored as you, the earth, should be. I want to end the sermon by expanding on something I mentioned earlier, just a fun little history tidbit, because I am that person. Bread really is older than human civilization. Agriculture began in modern-day Iraq 12,000 years ago in what is known as the Neolithic Revolution, when nomadic hunter-gatherers began putting down roots and growing fixed settlements. The ancient Mesopotamians grew wheat and barley between the Tigris and the Euphrates. They would build the earliest known cities in that fertile crescent with the first temples, the first writing system, and, thanks to one Babylonian princess named Enigal-Dinana, even the first museum. In less than 3,000 years, humans and their civilization will have spread through China and the Far East all the way to the Americas, growing all sorts of different grains along the way. And each time, a bread would rise with them. But bread is older than all of that. Charred remains of flatbreads ground from wild grains have been found in Jordan dating back over 14,000 years ago. And grinding stones have been found across Europe, China, and all the way through the Eurasian continent, dating back 30,000 years, which is about as old as the Homo sapien species itself. And if you keep track of modern archaeology, recently in Australia, they have also unearthed millstones and the remains of bread that are over 60,000 years old. Bread is older than human civilization. It's older than humans as we know ourselves to be. So as we sit and eat this bread today, and please feel free to have more, think about how long humans have been making bread. How many harvests communities have worked together through, passing down through the ages to the present day. Think of how many more harvests humans will continue to come together, to work, to nurture, and to celebrate. And know that while the work of harvest may seem daunting, that little piece of bread is proof that you're not alone. Humans have always been a communal species. Let us go out into that community with love and determination. Happy Lammas.
For our closing words today, seasons transitions. May you know fully and deeply the blessings of each of your heart's seasons. The inward pull of winter, springtime's lush renewal, the effortless, steady growth of summer, and autumn's rich harvest. May your passage from season to season be blessed, eased by hands to hold, and by the light of love to guide you on. Please rise in body and or spirit for our closing hymn, May the Circle Be Open.
May the circle be open but unbroken. May the love of the goddess be ever in your heart. Merry meet and merry part, and merry meet again. May the circle be open but unbroken. May the love of the goddess be ever in your heart. Merry meet and merry part, and merry meet again. May the circle be open but unbroken. May the love of the goddess be ever in your heart. Merry meet and merry part, and merry meet again.
As we extinguish our chalice, we thank the east, the air for wisdom, the south, the fire for passion, the west, the water for empathy, the north, the earth for abundance. Hail and farewell. We have extinguished the chalice, this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.